Hi, my name is Ben, and I want you to join me on a journey into the everyday lives, thoughts, and hopes of Iranians you don't get to see on the news. Beyond the politics and the headlines are people navigating a world shaped by history, conflict, and resilience. From inside of Iran, we unveil voices rarely heard and the perspectives that are often lost in the media noise. This is not the Iran of news agencies or the Iran of soundbites and sanctions. This is Iran of stories, of question, of change. This is Iran 2.0 Unveiled.
Feel you.
Good. All
wrong answers.
Yeah.
Sign here, for example, and I was like, it's real.
همون روز آتش بس شد و باز به همون ناگهانی که جنگ شروع شد جنگ تموم شد ما نفهمیدیم که چی شد.
And they just reduce their ego into, for example, for them, and from there to just there.
بعد خواهر زادم اومده بود پیشم میگفتش که دایی چی میشه؟
You can know what will happen even a second later.
Do you remember where you were when you heard the news that Iran was attacked?
خیلی جای بامزه‌ای بودم تو کله-پاچه فروشی.
I was at the cinema.
I get up in the morning and my father suddenly said that Israel attacked Tehran. And I was, what? What just happened? They were in the middle of the negotiations.
And when I actually saw that there was a lot of parts in Tehran that attacked, and those parts was near my girlfriend's house, I was full of anxiety and just calls her like, please hurry up, answer, please be fine. And she actually was like that, I'm sleeping.
رفته بودم با یکی از دوستام نزدیک یعنی نیمه شب ساعت 4 صبح بود. کله-پاچه رو سفارش دادیم، خوردیم، بلند شدیم که حساب کنیم، یاد دیدیم مردم خیلی هیجان زدن و یکی داره میگه زدن، یکی داره میگه حمله شد، یکی داره میگه نه دروغه فلانه. و توی اون رستورانی که نشسته بودیم یک هیجان و آشفتگی رو احساس کردیم. من تعجب کردم، بلافاصله موبایلمو برداشتم که ببینم چه خبره. دیدم بعضی سایت زدن که تهران بمباران شد و اسرائیل حمله کرد. خیلی تصویر آخر از زمانی بود.
That was really late. When we came out was 2 or 3 at the 3 a.m. Came home, slept. At the next morning, my father woke me up and said, Israel attacked us and there's news everywhere.
You were woken up by the news? Like he woke you up and told you that?
Yes.
How did you feel?
I feel terrified.
So when you heard the news about the attack on Iran, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
مدام تصویری که تو ذهنم بود اینه که برج آزادی خراب شده. برای من خیلی نماد خاصیه برج آزادی. یعنی هر وقتم که میرم تهران میرم اونجا میدون شهریار و اینکه مثلا اگه این خراب میشد یا مثلا بمب میخورد خیلی تصویر دارکی بود برام، خیلی تصویر تاثیرگذاری بود برام.
The first thing that came to my mind was the interview from Benjamin Netanyahu that he was talking and telling that Iran is reaching a nuke and for protecting ourselves I'm gonna attack them.
Were you worried that the same thing that was happening to Tehran would happen to Mashhad as well?
Actually, no.
No,
because Mashhad is really far from the Israel and it's the eastern part of Iran. Because it's a very long run, they would have actually, I don't know, they couldn't come there and bomb us like in Tehran or Tabriz like that. Because it's really far. But in Mashhad, there was just like those things that they, drones that they made in their houses and just little drones.
But what would you have done if Mashhad was attacked as heavily? Let's say if you were living in Tehran, what would you have done?
Nothing I could do.
You would stay in your own home?
Of course. What would you do?
Did you make any preparations?
Like what?
But a lot of people do, like did make some preparations, bought some stuff, made some plans.
It wouldn't make any difference.
How so?
For example, the best thing I could do is like buy some water or make a backpack for emergency moments. How long that's gonna take me? Where is gonna take me? Nowhere. If Mashhad got attacked heavily like Tehran, I would have just like let it go.
I don't know really. I really don't know because I'm a physician. So, one day just I received an SMS that was telling that if you are volunteer to, if there was needed, for example, injured people or something, we call you and we use you. Just sign here, for example. And I was like, it's real. It's maybe it goes on, and maybe the attacks just harm a lot of people that they need me as a physician. So it's really paradoxical. You have to think about lots of things. For example, your own life, your family, your friends, or think bigger. For example, what are my people? What situation are my people in?
There is somewhere to go near Mashhad, and we would just go there and stay in, for example, my grandparents' village for a couple of weeks, and then come back there because my presence in that city is not doing anything. It's not about the actual gunfight. If that was a military gunfight, that we will go with, I don't know, AK-47s and I would have gone because that's my country. I would have defended.
Do you remember the day Mashhad was attacked?
من راستش همون روز رفته بودم خرید بکنم، تو فروشگاه بودم. از فروشگاه که اومدم بیرون دیدم همه مردم دارن به آسمون نگاه میکنن. خیلی خیلی وحشتناک بود چون موبایلمو چک نمی‌کردم که مثلا خبر رو آنلاین ببینم. یهو نگاه کردم دیدم یه سمت آسمون دود سیاهیه. و خب با توجه به اینکه اخبار جنگ و اینها بود کاملا حدس می‌زدم که آتش سوزی نیست، یعنی حمله است. بلافاصله موبایل رو باز کردم نگاه کردم دیدم آره فرودگاه حمله شده و یه جایی هم ظاهراً یک خرابکاری کرده بودن، بمبگذاری بود چی بود، یک دود سیاهی تو آسمون.
In comparison with Tehran, it was a little attack. I don't know. It was an airplane for carrying oil or something like that.
In every threat, there is some hope. There is some opportunity. What do you think is the opportunity or hope in this case?
We heard that the shockwave shook us, but we were far.
The shockwave didn't reach here. We just heard it.
You just heard it?
Yeah,
we felt the shockwave. So something like that, vibrate everything. Even the floor.
One thing that would have come with the war is that it's a lot of sounds and noises that Iran made in the world and says that hey guys in all part of the world see that what Israel is doing right now. They actually come and invade us and drop many bombs on here.
من فکر نمی‌کنم به این راحتی باشه که یک حکومت خارجی بخواد حمله بکنه مثلا به حاکمیت ایران و بعد مثلا ما شاهد چیزی مثل رژیم چنج باشیم. فکر نمی‌کنم مثلا مطلوب باشه. ممکن بودنش رو که کاری ندارم، مطلوب بودنش هم من خیلی شک دارم. اما یک امیدواری دارم. امیدواریم اینه که بالاخره حاکمیت ما شاید توی یک توهم یا توی یک رویا بود. از قدرت واقعی خودش، از مسائل بین المللی که توش قرار داره و شاید این جنگ باعث شد که با وجهی از واقعیت روبرو بشه و امیدوارم امیدواری احمقانه ای نباشه، حکومت تغییر مسیر بده. این جنگ باعث بشه شاید یکی از این امیدهایی که تو گفتی بعد از این جنگ میشه بهش دل بست این باشه که رویه‌های خودش رو عوض کنه، هم در زمینه خارجی و هم از خارجی مهمتر در زمینه داخلی.
From the point of view of humanity, I don't see any benefit in war. Any war, okay? Because there are innocent people, there are children, there are, I don't know, there are elderly people. sick people, hospitals and everything. But if you want to see the big picture, yeah, I think that with every, when something happened to you, you don't know if it's bad luck or good luck. But what I want to say is that our government should focus on what is benefits Iran, what is good for our country, and if some politics went wrong during these years, it should stop going on that road again.
So you think like you've been transformed? You think you're a different person after the war?
One of the things that changed is like I was sure that nothing's gonna happen. It's after all of those miseries and things, war is one of the things that's not gonna happen. I don't know why. I just believed in that. I thought that maybe United States would prevent it. Maybe I was thinking that United States didn't let the Israel attack us, because in my opinion, in my mind, United States was always the country that protect other countries or prevented wars. I believed in that, and that was wrong.
It was nothing actually out of mind that happened in there, because for sure the first impression of this war and everything that happened for a country is that people unite to each other. If there was a huge gap between the people in case of beliefs and there, it should appear in like 2 or 3 months into the war. It shouldn't appear in the first days of the war, because people are actually getting emotional. They're getting like, this is my country, this is not about our, for example, regime or something like that, and we are Iranian and we have to love Iran, and we want just Iran to attack Israel, we want to destroy Israel. And I think the first impression of every nation when someone invades them is that.
نه، ولی تو تصویری که نسبت به آینده داشتم چرا تغییرات زیادی اتفاق افتاده. یه جور نامعلومی از اینکه چه اتفاقی میخواد بیفته. مثلا توی 1 سال آینده شاید چه تغییراتی خواهیم بود. ببین، از حدود 2 سال پیش تا الان اینقدر سیر اتفاقات توی منطقه خاورمیانه و به خصوص باز تو خود ایران اینقدر زیاد بوده که اصلا عقب موندیم هممون. یعنی انگار دوره تاریخ آروم ساکته، یا خب به یه نقطه که میرسه تمام این ارتعاشات و فعالیت‌ها و اینا توی یک بازه کوتاه مدت اتفاق میفته. به این خیلی ترسناکه، یعنی خیلی پیش بینی ناپذیر میکنه آینده رو.
I don't want to exaggerate it. That's I'm totally a different person. But what I'm saying is that it leaves its marks, on you. And long years far from this year, I still remember the destruction that happened in Tehran, and the home that wasn't there anymore, the buildings, the war crime that happened in Evin prison. You can't forget that. I think. No, you have an experience that you will never forget.
So you think the war is still going on?
Of course the war is still going on. We didn't came into any conclusion. Mm-hmm. We didn't accept their terms. And we still want to vanish Israel from the map. Mm-hmm. That's our mind. That's their mind. Do we have a conclusion here? No.
Yeah, I don't think so. That the ceasefire, this ceasefire is, it's so fragile. I think, and we don't know what will happen. What will they decide? Will Israel have another attack? What is the politics of Iran here? We don't know anything about that.
I mean, I don't think that this is a quite a complete ceasefire, that it's a complete peace between Israel and Iran. No, I don't think that is like that. But I know that the ceasefire was a very, very, very important and undeniable thing that should have happened in between Iran and Israel, because they were taking a lot of damage. That's for sure.
آره یه جوری ادامه پیدا میکنه. انگار اون جنگه شکل فیزیکالش وجود نداره ولی توی ذهن تو انگار ادامه پیدا میکنه. مدام سعی میکنی پیش بینی بکنی، سناریوهای مختلف رو در نظر بگیری، عواقبش رو در نظر بگیری یا تا امکان بازگشتش. و این یک ترسیه، مثل یک کوه آتشفشانی که خاموش شده ولی مدام دود ازش میاد بیرون و تو منتظری که دوباره فوران کنه. انگار هیچ وقت برای تو تموم نمیشه. این تعلیقه ادامه پیدا میکنه.
What do you think about the future of Middle East?
It really depends on many things, and I'm not a politician, so I don't know what will happen behind the curtains. But I know something, and that is Israel feeds from this chaos, I think. He's trying to just spread its settlements with all these wars, and I don't know when will this conflict just become a solved problem between the Palestine and Israel. But I know that all the other countries in the region could play a very key role in changing the situations.
من فکر می‌کنم منطقه خاورمیانه که بیشتر از این طاقت و گنجایش تنش رو نداره. الان 2 سال مسئله غزه هست، مسئله ایران هست و ایران یک حالتی داره که اگر به هم بریزه کشورهای اطراف هم به هم میریزن، ناامن میشن. زمانی که کارتر به ایران اومده بود، زمان شاه سابق، گفته بود ایران جزیره ثبات منطقه است و واقعا ایران انگار مثل یک تکیه‌گاهیه که خیلی کشورهای مختلف بهش تکیه کردن. اگه قرار باشه این متزلزل بشه، این دومینووار در منطقه پخش میشه. خاورمیانه دیگه بیشتر از این گنجایش تنش نداره. من فکر می‌کنم الان تو اون حالت اوج خودشه و آروم آروم به حالت ثبات و آرامشی خواهیم رسید و به خصوص برای ایران من خیلی آینده درخشانی رو تصور می‌کنم. ایران پتانسیل‌های خیلی زیادی داره که متاسفانه تو این 40 سال 50 سال اصلا ازش استفاده نشده.
I know that the countries around the Khalij Fars, they don't want war. Lots of other countries in the region, they don't want war. And I think Iran could play its role, but changing its big politics among the internal and international behaviors by, I don't know, showing the world that he's changing his mind about everything. And what I want to insist on is that Islamic Republic should change its behavior towards its own people.
ایران در زمینه توریسم به شدت میتونه فعال بشه و یک قطب توریستی باشه توی جهان. اینجا از لحاظ فرهنگی، از لحاظ تاریخی، آثار باستانی که وجود داره، از لحاظ جغرافیایی و طبیعی، در یک زمان در یک لحظه شما هم برف داری، هم بیابون داری، هم دریا داری، هم کوهستان داری، هم شهرهای صنعتی و مدرن داری، هم شهرهای سنتی و فرهنگ‌های چند صد ساله قبلی رو داری، هم جنگل داری. هم لحاظ پزشکی ایران کشور پیشرفته‌ایه و الان کشورهای منطقه برای پزشکی، برای عملاشون، برای جراحیشون میان ایران با همین وضعیتی که الان داریم تازه. و خود همین واقعا فقط بحث توریسم رو نگاه بکنیم، ایران میتونه یه قطب بشه توی منطقه و به اندازه حتی درآمد نفتیش درآمد داشته باشه. بگذاریم از این که ایران چقدر منابع نفتی داره، دومین کشوریه که منابع گازی داره در جهان، معادن خیلی غنی داره، نیروی انسانی متخصص و خیلی خوبی داره. یعنی شما همین ایرانی هایی که توی 30 سال گذشته از ایران خارج شدن و دارن الان توی امریکا و اروپا دارن زندگی میکنن، اینا فقط برگردن یه مقدار سرمایه هاشون وارد ایران بشه، تخصص هایی که دارن اینا توی ایران به کار بگیرن، این مثل یک فنر میجه از جا.
To the wider audience, if you have some message about the war, about all the situation,
in Iran.
Yeah. Or about the whole, like about the war, because war has many sides, maybe even more than two sides.
Yeah.
So, do you have a message? Do you have something in your mind that you want to tell them?
War has many faces, and for example, favor for some countries and benefit some countries and disadvantage for some other countries. But it's not a good thing at all. It's not a good thing at all. It will hurt economy. It will hurt people. It will hurt the jobs, and everything will be actually hurt in those matters if a war start. And war is not like that. War is not like that. We will keep this fight out of our lines and out of our country. No, it will come into your country if you are involved in a war and like that. I think people should really work together. I don't know, maybe it's something like cliche or something like that. But why you should war about something that you can talk about it, you can negotiate about it, you can buy and sell things in those matters. You shouldn't actually just choose the military thing as the first option. The negotiation, I think, is the key role, and if people really decrease their narcissistic level of their pride and, I don't know, the ego, and they just reduce their ego into, for example, for them, from there to just there, they can reach a very good things that could have benefit every people in every part of the world.
نکته جالبیه. من عید امسال، یعنی 4 ماه پیش، عید نوروز، رفته بودم شیراز. تو حافظیه بودم. توی شیراز، خب شیراز برای ما ایرانی‌ها شهر خاصی، از یه طرف تخت جمشیده، از یه طرف باغ‌های خیلی بزرگی داره که ما رو یاد باغ‌های قدیمی ایران میندازه. توی مدرسه خان که داشتیم قدم می‌زدیم با یکی از دوستان، اونجا یک جوون 25 ساله فرانسوی رو دیدم که اسمش هم ماکسیم بود و میگفت خیلی دوست دخترم هم دوست داشته باهام بیاد، ولی میترسیدم. گفتم روز من یه بار ایران برم ببینم چه جوریه، اگه اوکی بود و امن بود بعد با هم میریم. خب خیلی متاسف شدم که واقعا چرا باید مثلا این همه شهر به این بزرگی فقط یه دونه توریست فرانسوی ببینی. از این خوشحال بودم که یک جوون اومده داره این صحبت‌ها رو میکنه. بعد چیزی که ازش پرسیدم، گفتم نظر درباره ایران چیه؟ ایرانی‌ها چجوری بودن؟ دفعه اولت که میای؟ گفت آره. گفت خیلی متفاوت از اون چیزی که توی رسانه هامون میدیدم یا خودم فکر میکردم. خیلی سورپرایز شدم. میگفت همه چی یک جور دیگه است. مثلا غذاها، مردم، برخوردشون با من، الان همین که خودت مثلا اومدی داریم صحبت میکنیم، اصلا انگار میگم مثلا چند سال میشناسمت، خیلی صمیمی با من این صمیمیت رو جای دیگه دنیا ندیدم. اتفاقا داشت از ایران میرفت سمت چین و میخواست جاده ابریشمو بره. میگفت انگار همتون آشنایین، انگار همتون مثلا یه جور عضو خانواده این، مثلا یهو دعوت میکنیم بیا خونمون یا میشیم غذا میخوریم و من تو رو دفعه اول میشناسم. شاید برای غربی‌ها خیلی مثلا این سخته.
Big difference between the people of Iran and what the governments are doing. The people of Iran want peace, they want friendship with the world, and they want an ordinary life, they want an easy and happy life like everybody else in the world. So, but something that I want to ask from everyone who's watching this is that if you think something is wrong, say it loud. If you think something is right, say it loud. I don't know, maybe it's superstitious, but I think the truth will win at the end. I do believe that. So I hope the happiness, this truth, I don't know, everything what is comes as soon as possible for Iran and for all the countries around the region and in the world. I just take my steps as I do what I think is good for everyone, and I do my best. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not a governor. I'm not a politician. I'm just an ordinary member of a civil society who wants to get its rights, and that's all.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I wish peace. I wish peace for everyone around the world. Jew, Gentile, black man, white.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. خیلی ممنون.